Okay gang, today we're back with another video, and as you can tell from the title, we're just going to cut straight into it. So, I just want to tell you guys, before we get started, this isn't going to be your traditional productivity videos, none of that like Pomodoro technique or any of that bullshit. All of these techniques that I'm going to talk about in this video are new. You might have heard them before, but they're a bit different, they're a bit weird, and it's just not your traditional productivity tips or like life hacks sort of video. And even though they are a bit weird, they're guaranteed to work because they're what's worked for me, and they've worked for several other people that I've seen who've like tried it out.
So this shit crazy.
So what how DJ Khaled say another one? I CBA, so I'm not even talking. You want my ETA? I ain't left just yet.
So I've got 10 things that you can do to start increasing your productivity today. The first one being romanticizing your life. Yeah, there's this quote by Franz Kafka, and it says, "By believing in something that still does not exist, we create it." And the idea of this is that how this relates with like romanticizing life is, let me just tell you a quick story as well. I have this friend who always goes to like coffee shops and like a library or something to go do her work. And I always looked at that and I always like kind of made fun of her for it because I was like, what's the point in going to a coffee shop or going to a library to do your work when you can do it at home? Like, it's just a waste of time, and the whole travel time that you spend going there and doing the work, you could have just spent that time at home doing the work, and then you would have been more productive because you would have got more done. Which seems like reasonable thinking, right? Until I actually tried it myself. And then I realized I was just being stupid because if you go to a coffee shop or you go to a library to do your work, you're essentially putting yourself in that frame of mind of like, you're making it into almost like an event. Like, oh, I'm going to dress up and I'm going to go to the coffee shop and I'm going to like romanticize it and turn it into a thing. And when you turn something into a thing to actually do, then it becomes a lot more exciting for you. Like, say for example, if you go to the gym and you rather just like, instead of like actually going to the gym, you just do a little workout at home. You want to hit a workout, you just do a little workout at home in your PJs. It doesn't really feel like a good workout because there's not the gym environment. There's not like all of the steel around you. There's not other people that are around you working out and this and that. You're just at home on your own in your living room, which isn't really a working out environment. Whereas romanticizing it and putting yourself in that environment and actually almost like being kind of like a sheep, because everyone does it, right? Everyone goes to a coffee shop to study or to do their work. So kind of being a sheep and fitting yourself into that lifestyle romanticizes it in your head. And then you get kind of excited because you're like, oh, I'm going to go to the coffee shop and it's going to be so aesthetic and this and that. It sounds kind of sad, but it makes you more productive because you've created a sense of excitement in your head for that thing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because this is so much more powerful than you think. Because if you struggle with procrastination a lot, this will help motivate you to work, and not only just work, but work harder because you've created excitement for it. And that excitement is motivation. A lot of people shit, this is like a side note, but a lot of people are in our self-improvement space shit on motivation and discipline, and they're just like, oh, discipline, discipline, discipline. If you have motivation, then no, you're just doing it wrong, you need discipline. If you have motivation, it's great. And if you can set up your life to have motivation when you're trying to like get work done or be productive, it can help you out so much. And this is one of the best things for that, is romanticizing your life to be more productive because you're excited, and that excitement creates motivation. So that's a quick tip, and honestly, I think probably starting off strong because that's a really, really good one that's helped me out a lot. And props to my friend, even though I mocked her for it. So the next tip that I have for you is about using less brain points or like brain XP throughout the day to actually spend more of your brain XP making decisions that are actually related to your work. So what I mean by this is like, say for example, if you decide to plan out your entire day the evening before, so like say for example, it's like 9 a.m. today, and last night at 9 p.m. you planned out, okay, 9 a.m. I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to come back, I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to shower, and then I'm going to get my work done. You put down all the times, you plan out your day. On the actual day, you'll have a lot less decision fatigue because you won't have time, you won't be wasting time thinking, oh, should I do this now or should I do this later? And then you're spending time and wasting time making those decisions, but you're also using up more and more of your like brain processing power to make these decisions. So when it actually comes to doing the productive work, you have less brain processing power. It's really weird to think about because you might just be thinking, but wait, don't have the same amount of brain processing power every day, like consistently throughout the day. And not really, because your cognitive abilities get recharged when you sleep. So it's better to do your hard work first thing in the morning. And now this will lead on to my next point, which I'll say in a second. But if you do your hard work first thing in the morning and have that scheduled beforehand and have everything else scheduled, your day will just generally flow a lot more smoothly. And obviously, you can spend like the previous day or like the night using up the rest of your brain processing points to make decisions for the next day. So on the actual day, you don't need to consider about it, and then you can just keep planning, 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 planning. And then you have tons and tons of like perfect days where you've been productive instead of actually wasting time on the days where you want to be productive, deciding which work to do when. Now, the next tip is something I've actually mentioned before, but I'm going to cover it again just because it's important and it'll help you out a lot. And it was in my last productivity video, so if you already watched it, you already know what I'm talking about. But this is called eating the frog. I'm just going to quickly do a little summary for the people that haven't seen that video. And if you want to watch the full video, I'll link it up here or somewhere. But essentially, eating the frog is the idea that you have the choice between eating a really good, like, say for example, it's your favorite food. You eat your favorite food right now, and then later on you have to eat the frog. Or you eat the frog right now, and then you have the tasty treat or your favorite food later on. Now, what this says is that if you decide to have the tasty treat like right now, then that means you're deciding to choose instant gratification, doing the easier work, the shallow tasks first, and then you'd rather do the harder thing later. And you just keep pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off, which is procrastination, right? Whereas having the like eating the frog right now, like this boiled frog that's disgusting, it'll set you up to do hard work now, and then while you're doing the hard work afterwards, first of all, you're motivated by the fact that you have your favorite food to eat later, and second of all, it's like the same thing like I said in the previous point. It's less processing points. You're like setting it up so that the harder thing where you need more processing points for, or brain processing points for, is used first, and then you save the rest for later, which is like just the easy stuff, so you can have a lot less for the easy stuff, the shallow work. So that's one of my best recommendations, honestly. I have the best, highest quality work first thing in the morning, always, because my cognitive ability is always the best in the morning. Now, alongside this point is staying fasted in the mornings. Now, the reason for this is because if you eat, like after you've eaten a big meal, you might realize that you tend to feel really tired after eating, and that's because your body is using up so much energy just to digest the food that you've eaten. And because your body is focusing on digesting the food, you don't actually have that much energy to get work done. And to put this in another example for you, say for example there's a lion, like hunting. When do you think the lion would have more energy to hunt? Before he's eaten and like actually captured the hunt or whatever, actually done the hunt. So before or after, when he's already eaten? Because you don't really see a lion after they've already eaten and hunted going out to hunt again. They're just kind of grazing on the field and like sleeping in the sun, right? Whereas a lion that's on the hunt is vicious, ferocious, and like chasing that is chasing the prey, right? But that's like its hard work task of the day. So if you set it up to be like your hard work task of the day, or the prey that you need to catch is before you eat, then you'll be a lot more motivated and you'll just be faster. And it doesn't even need to be physical activity, but your brain will just be faster because you have a lot less consumption fatigue, I think it's called. I don't know the specific term, but this will help you out a lot because you don't want to be in that like lazy, tired, fatigued mood after you've eaten and then be trying to get work done because it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, your brain is a lot more foggy after you've eaten. So yeah, if you think about it, biologically, hunger is one of the most motivating factors to us, like as animals, because we are animals. Hunger is one of the most motivating factors to actually get something done and be productive. So you can use that to your advantage. Just take advantage of your biological mechanisms that already exist and are already in place for your work. for your business, for your schoolwork, for whatever you're trying to do. And trust me, this will help out so much. So the next point ties into two of the previous things that I said, which is eating the frog and obviously your brain processing power and doing the hard work first, which is essentially what I'm about to say, is literally just doing the hardest thing first, or doing your most important work activity first. So say, for example, for me, the hardest thing that I need to do for content creation is film videos, or sometimes edit them. Editing, to be honest, isn't even that hard. Editing is easy, but it's usually just filming or scripting. Those are the hardest things that I need to do. So I set it up in my day that the very first thing that I do when I want to do my work is either film or I script a video. And then after that, I'll set up, okay, yeah, I can edit later, I can make a thumbnail later, I can do the little like cutesy caption stuff later. I don't need to worry about any of that sort of stuff because I know all that stuff is easy. Whereas in the morning, I do the hardest, most important thing that's also probably going to take me the longest. But it's about having that differentiation between identifying what's a deep work task and what's a shallow work task, and placing those deep work tasks first. And you don't want to bullshit yourself and say, oh, but I need to read this page and it's very, very hard work for me to read this page. No, it's not. The hardest thing for you, if you're like at school doing maths, for example, is actually doing the practice paper. Get up early and do the practice paper. Throughout the day, you can revise, like go over your notes and practice the equations, formulas, whatever. But in the morning, when you're in your prime, that's when you do your exam. Why do you think that schools schedule exams at like 9 a.m. in the morning? Because they know that that's when you're prime time to focus and actually get the work done, because your cognitive ability is at its peak at that time. The next point that I have is, alongside all of this that I've just said, is just try and get your work done as early as possible. The earlier you get it done in the day, the more you can just chill later on. And as the day progresses, your body wants to just shut down and chillax before it goes to sleep. So that's why you can just like set up your evenings to have a little nice chill time where you can watch a movie, spend some time with family, spend some time with friends, whatever. I don't usually recommend like doing something like playing video games or watching a movie, because that's kind of unproductive. But like going out and spending time with friends is quite nice to do at this time, because that's like your wind down time. It's not something that needs 100% of your focus. And like you don't need to be in that kind of productivity flow state where you need to be like, oh, I need to do this. You can just allocate that time, like your wind down time, to be a lot more chill. And then the morning time, or like the earlier on in the day, when you need to focus, that's where you allocate your like deep work tasks and the main things you need to get done, like getting that exam paper done, or getting that video out of the way, or writing that script, right? Now, alongside this is the next point, which is you want to wake up earlier and also sleep earlier. So essentially just have a good sleep schedule. Now, I'll mention in the next point something else about sleep, which I'll get into, but having a slightly shifted sleep schedule, just generally circadian rhythm, where you wake up earlier and then sleep earlier, will allow you to be a lot more productive. Because the morning, this is maybe just for me, because I know a lot of people don't like functioning in the morning, but for me, it makes me think, you know what, I'm up before a bunch of other people and the whole world is quiet. No one's texting me at that time at like 5, 6 a.m. No one's texting me. It's my own time and my own place where I can get my work done without any distractions. And then when people start waking up, that's when I can start like winding down with my work. And just like, this is what I do, is like in my general schedule is I wake up, do my work, and then I head to the gym. And then by the time I'm heading to the gym, that's when everyone else starts waking up. 8, 9, 11 a.m., 12 p.m., around about that time. That's like the time that I'm at the gym. So that time is when everyone else starts waking up, and that's when I can reply to messages in between my sets at the gym. Whereas instead, I'm not getting messages while I'm in the middle of doing my work, because then obviously I got distracted. And you don't want to get distractions while you're trying to focus on doing your work. So maybe try like shifting your circadian rhythm around a bit, just to leave out some like free time for your day where you know you're not going to get distracted, because you just want to avoid distractions as much as possible as well. The next point is routine. Now, if you're trying to pick up a new habit, like, and trying to be productive with it, like say for example, you're just starting going to the gym and you're trying to be productive with it, the best way to do that is to repetitively do it, because habits with consistency become characteristics. So you want to be consistent with your habits. And in order to be consistent with your habits, you need a routine or a schedule, something that you can set up where if you continue doing the routine over and over every single day, trying to stick to it as much as possible, then you'll end up building habits. And these habits will instill within you and build characteristics, which essentially just becomes part of your personality. And it'll become so easy that, like, even going to the gym, you don't need to think about it. You just wake up and go to the gym. It's just part of life now. Like, if you really think about it, when you wake up, you don't really need to think about brushing your teeth or, like, going for a piss as soon as you wake up or drinking a glass of water if that's just something that you do. You don't need to think about eating breakfast. You just do it because it's part of your schedule. I know I talked about fasting earlier, but you know what I mean. So if you can create new habits that are part of your routine, then you'll just naturally become productive and it will become so much easier. You don't need to think as much about it. It's not like, oh, no, I need to do this today, this today, this today. It's more so like, oh, no, that's just part of my normal routine. I just go to the gym every day. I just work every day. I don't need to think about it. Now, with the whole idea of a routine, one of the biggest arguments that I hear that even I myself gave at one point was the fact that if I have a routine, every single day changes. Like, there's unknown variables that can come into place. Someone might come over, you might end up meeting with a friend one day, the next day you won't. You don't know what could happen. Some days you need to do your laundry, some days you don't need to. So you can't schedule every little thing. And now my answer for this, which I used to think this a lot, and I was like, nah, schedules don't work for me, routines don't work for me. I didn't use them for years because of this. And then I think, I can't remember where I heard it, but if you set up your routine, it's so basic, but if you set up your routine to have a range of times rather than specific times to get certain things done. So say, for example, you said from 9 to 11 p.m., 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., I'm going to head to the gym. Now, that gives you room for collateral damage in the sense that if something happens at 9 to 11, like say, for example, you lost your keys for a second, it's not like, oh, I've lost my keys, now I can't go to the gym because my schedule says I need to go to the gym at 9 a.m. on the dot. You lost your keys, you found them, you can still go to the gym because you accounted for it in the schedule, right? So if you include ranges of time within your perfect day, which is your perfect day, you basically just create the ideal day of the most productive things of doing everything. Like, you want to go hit the gym, you want to do your deep work, you want to do your shallow work, you want to read, you want to spend time with your family, you have it all written down in there, but with ranges of time, and then that becomes your schedule. And that's the idea of the perfect day. Now, another thing that goes hand in hand with this, 10% of a perfect day will be 100% better and more productive than your average day. Because if you actually try and commit to a perfect day, and say, for example, not all of it goes as planned, you hit the gym, you do your deep work, you do some shallow work, but you didn't end up reading in the evening. Because you still did, most of it, or say, for example, even if you just hit the gym in the morning, you still hit the gym in the morning. That's still more productive than usual, right? You still did something that you wouldn't have usually done in your procrastination, lazy phase. So you want to focus on making sure that you stick to at least a little bit of your perfect day. Even if you can't do all of it, do some of it, because it's infinitely better than having a lazy, procrastinating day. So even if everything doesn't go to schedule or to plan, you'll still have a productive day. Now, the next thing is, if you want to build the habits, I don't usually recommend this, but if you want to build the habits and get habits stuck in that, you want them to become characteristics, like I said earlier, you want to place the priority of routine over sleep. And I'm not saying be stupid and stay up until 2 a.m., but say, for example, things got a little bit delayed in your perfect day and something happened, someone came over and it was unavoidable, but you still had some work that you wanted to get done at the end of the day. If you're staying up doing work, that is so much more valuable than going to sleep. If you still manage to wake up on time at the next day, as the time that you've set in your perfect day, it's say, for example, it's 8 a.m., right? And you have to run over your perfect day and sleep at 9 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. So then you say, okay, I'll go to bed at 9 p.m., but I'll also still wake up at 8 a.m. I'll have less sleep. I'll sacrifice that sleep for the routine. Because with the routine, then at least I can instill those habits, meaning that in the future, I will still build myself up to be more productive. Because the more productive you start being now, the easier it will be in the future. And that's what you want to do. You want to set it up to be easy for yourself in the future. You don't want it to be hard to be productive in the future. You're just trying to set things up right now so it's easier and it comes to you naturally because it's a characteristic rather than a habit. Now, the next and final point is having some sort of productivity tracker. I personally use a whiteboard, and the way that I set it up is I have a tally on the side, which has like all of my current focuses or my current goals. So one of them is content, which is like scripting, editing, recording videos like this, anything like that. And then one of them is like, I think it's learning for my coursework at uni and all that sort of stuff. Another one is physical, which is like my gym stuff and any sort of workouts that I want to hit. I have that there. So these are like the three tallies that I have, and I have it all color coded. And then what I do is I write like a tally. So every single time I go to the gym, I write down one tally. Every single time I do like an hour worth of revision, I put one tally. Every time I do like an hour's worth of editing or record a video, I do another tally. And because I see it every day, I can actively see how productive I'm being. And this allows me to compete with myself. So I can be like, oh, last month, so I count up all the tallies, and I say, for example, last month, oh, I only hit 90 tallies in total across all the things that I wanted to focus on. That's kind of shit. I need to improve. And that will motivate me because I can see the numbers right in front of me every single day because I have the whiteboard in my room. I can just be like, okay, this month, I'm not going to get 90, I'm going to get 100, 120. And because I have that visual representation right in front of me, I'm more likely to be productive because it motivates me to be more productive every single day. And this is something that I've started doing myself, is to have it in front of me. Like, I know you can get productivity trackers on your phone or on your computer, but sometimes you just forget to open the app and then you forget it exists, and it's like, oh, I'm not really being productive because I forgot it exists. And it kind of just defeats the whole point. Whereas having something you can see every single day right there in front of you is kind of unavoidable. Maybe like if you set it to be your home screen on your phone, that I feel like has a lot more ease to actually motivate you to be more productive. But yeah, those are all the points for this video. And honestly, I think if you follow everything in this video, you're well on your way to becoming a million times more productive than you ever have been. And this is coming from a guy who, honestly, I'm probably the most laziest guy out there. I procrastinate more than anyone. There have been literally weeks where I've done nothing and I've just stayed in bed all day, bed rotting, doing fuck all. And these are the habits and these are the techniques that have enabled me to actually start being productive, start making videos, start being consistent on YouTube. If you see, I've been posting fairly consistently for the past week because I've been implementing these habits. And that's what I want you to start doing. I want you to start implementing these habits so you don't need to be procrastinating anymore. You don't need to be lazy. Because being lazy makes you feel like shit, right? You don't want to feel like shit anymore. You want to be productive. So start implementing these habits and let me know how it goes in the comments. And maybe you can let anyone else know that's watching this video and wondering if it actually works. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.